Print and cut out the template, place it on a clay slab, and there's some tips at the end of the video that how to roll out the clay slab and dry it for a little bit, and before you do the trace the template on the clay slab and cut accordingly. So then we have the egg body and the bunny here. So once you cut out the template, so I would like you to hold the knife at an angle and then cut it like this. This will create, when you assemble the egg together, the body, it will be a better seam. So at an angle, and then cut it like this. Use a knife to do a bit of crisscrossing. So apply some slip. Slip is just dry clay powder of the same clay body. Mix it with water to a consistency of yogurt. What you would do right now is stand it up. Use your wooden tool, either a big one or smaller one. I'm quite used to the smaller one. So try to merge it together. Give it a good bond. Press it, compress the clay together, the two pieces together. Use a roll out a sausage and then put it inside. So use a wooden spatula or silicone spatula and then try to shape it a bit rounder. Before you put the bunny on top of here, what you will do is, I would like you to wet your fingers with water. We would like to shape it rounder. So before you put it on, so wet your fingers. I'll just put a piece of cloth underneath because it's so wet. I don't want the wood to be dripping wet. So what you would do right now, you will do crisscross on the bunny. Apply slip. And put it on the egg. You can play around with the body shape a little bit, shape the legs a little bit, or can turn it up a little bit. If you find the leg is a bit too long, you can trim it, make it shorter. We will put with the face here, we'll put more clay here, roll out a piece of clay, tap it a little bit, and then put it on the head there to give it a bit more volume. Is how big is that is totally up to you. Now it's time to make a fluffy tail. Take a piece of clay, make it a little round ball. And put it, and then we make 2 ears. How big the ears are is up to you. 2 clay balls. How big the ears is up to you. Make a sausage. And then one end, make it more narrow. And then use a thumb to flatten it a little bit so we can add the ears. So before we do that, we can use a end of the brush and to make a dent here. So score and slip. How you put your ears on is sticking up or hanging down, again, is your choice. So it's just basically like that. Use a wooden tool. Put a tiny piece of clay sausage at the back of the ear there, just to have stronger bond. The drying process with the hair dryer. I don't want it to be totally dry, just a little bit not sticky, and then we can use a sponge to clean the surface. So go back in and then do the round the bottom a bit to keep the shape. The next thing what you will do, you will use a wet cloth or a sponge and then go and clean all the surface here. Once you've done that, and roll out a piece of clay slab, and it's not provided in the template because you can make the bottom how big, how small you want. So I can do a rough line here, roughly. So then I can cut accordingly. You can cut it square, cut it bigger, whatever. Okay, so I'll just cut a round shape like this. You can totally seal this, or you can use it as a little container. You can put things inside. If you use it as a little container, that you might want to put a piece of clay here, so the lid doesn't slide. It's also quite nice to give the bunny a little nose. There, make a tiny little ball, give it a tap to make it flat, and some slip somewhere. So if you wish, and you can do the eyes. So you can use this as a little container to put your things inside, or you can drill some holes in there as a tea light. With your bunny candle, if you want the bottom really round, find a bottle, fit that in, and then squeeze it, so then you will get quite a round bottom. And use the wet cloth to clean it. So then you get a round cylinder. Once we roll out the clay, it's very important to understand how stiff the clay is, how dry the clay is. This is straight out from the bag. You roll it out, it's got no strength. If I want to build tall, it just flop. Okay? If you let the piece of slab dry for a few hours in an airy place or under a fan, it depends how airy your place is. But as you can see that it's hardened a little bit. That is called the ladder stage, the early on ladder stage. It got strength when you build up, and then it's got the strength to build tall. And when you're rolling out clay's slab, so make sure that you flip and roll in all directions. Keep flipping it and keep rolling in all directions. Pay attention to those trapped air. If you do see a bubble trap air, just poke it a bit. Then you get rid of those trapped air. So it's got a lot of lines and creases and all that. You can use a spatula just to smooth the clay. Then you get rid of all those markings. So